Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, August 29th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The Democratic Party officially submitted its amendments on the vetting law to Parliament today. In the 22-page document, the Democrats have added their amendments on 7 issues, which according to them conflict with the Constitution. The role of the High Inspectorate of Declaration and Audit of Assets and Classified Information Security Directorate is seen as a problem by the Democrats. Part of the document reads, "The active and decisive role of the bodies controlled or under the authority of the executive power brings complete control of the government in all the components of the reevaluation process. This fact conflicts with paragraph 5 of Article 179, which specifies that the assessment is carried out by the Independent Committee of Qualification. Also, it conflicts with sections 3 and 4 of the Annex of the Constitution." The Democrats also argue that the current bill puts the new bodies for assessing judges and prosecutors under government control. The new vetting bodies, the Public Commissioners, the Independent Committee of Qualification, and the College of Appeal are placed under the supervision and control of the government, as the telecommunications and financial income of their members will be periodically checked by government agencies, for example, the Directorate of Prevention of Money Laundering. Also, the Democrats do not agree with how the procedures for selecting the assessment institution members are detailed in the law. The document states, "Clearly and deliberately, the text of the draft does not detail the procedure for selecting and appointing members to the vetting bodies or the process of evaluating the candidates, which leaves the process at the discretion of the bodies involved in the procedure, in contradiction with the annex of the constitutional amendments." In their arguments, the Democrats point out that the process and assessment of judges and prosecutors affect the fundamental rights and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution and the European Convention on Human Rights. Also, the Democrats claim that as the draft was approved by the parliamentary majority and bears signature of international experts, it violates the legal security principle. According to the Democrats, the text is unclear, confusing, and in some cases contradictory. The Democrat experts further argue that the bill passed without the votes of the opposition, leaving the possibility open for judges and prosecutors of a communist system to be included in the current justice system. The Democratic Party lists 75 amendments to 65 articles for the vetting law on judges and prosecutors, and appears as though the Democrats are on the borders of creating a new law. Due to the volume of amendments, a consensual ratification at the special plenary session, which will be held on Tuesday, August 30th at 1700, seems difficult. The U.S. Ambassador Donald Liu has returned to his mission of helping the parties reach consensus for the second phase of the judicial reform, which implements the laws in accordance with the new Constitution. A day before the special plenary session for adopting the vetting law for judges and prosecutors, the U.S. ambassador held a 1-hour meeting with the Democratic Party chairman at the DP headquarters. The U.S. ambassador also held a meeting with the Assembly Speaker, Ilir Meta. In the meeting with the Assembly Speaker, the U.S. ambassador was accompanied by the EU ambassador, Romana Vlahutin. The meeting with the Assembly Speaker lasted about 23 minutes. The law will create the new institutions for assessing the judges and prosecutors. The Bankers Petroleum Company announced that the third-party audit report with respect to the 2011 tax dispute has been released. The report determines that the bankers correctly stated its 2011 expenses as cost recoverable according to the license agreement. The company confirms that, as previously agreed to by the Albanian National Agency for Natural Resources, the Minister of Energy and Industry, and the Bankers Petroleum Company, the decision is a final resolution, and as such, the Albanian Tax Authority must recalculate the company's tax obligations for 2011 and determine the appropriate mechanism to settle or reimburse the Bankers Petroleum Company for the payments made so far. As of June 30th of this year, the company has paid a total of $37 million to the Albania Tax Office as installments towards the 2011 profit tax assessment. Conflict between the Bankers Petroleum Company and the tax directory started last year after Alpetrol claimed that Bankers Petroleum costs were less than the reported $220 million in 2011. Based on Alpetrol's 2011 report, the BPC owed $57 million in taxes, reaching $75 million after penalties and interest, an amount the Albanian state claimed the company was avoiding by reporting higher than actual costs to lower the profit ratio and avoid taxes. The conflict culminated on November 25th when the taxes directory, after receiving authorization from the Albanian courts, blocked the company's bank accounts in an effort to forcibly collect the $57 million. The accounts were unblocked after an intervention by the arbitral tribunal. In December, Bankers announced it had reached an agreement with the taxes directory. On his Facebook account, the Minister of Interior wrote about accompanying an anti-cannabis operation with the journalist of The Economist in Vlora area, where about 2,700 cannabis plants were destroyed. He wrote, "Together with Tim Judah from The Economist, we assisted in the daily police operations against cannabis cultivation. More than just victory against cannabis and its growers, we have finally won the fight with the past." According to the Minister of Interior, today there are no untouchable people. There is no area where the police cannot intervene, and there are no more growers or criminals of any kind with immunity. I am very conscious that there is still much to do, so I understand anyone who expects more of us. We have made a lot of progress, and we still have a lot to do. We are on the right track to building Albania's future generation with the police of the future generations, concluded the minister's Facebook posting. The majority's candidate for mayor of Dibra held electoral meetings today in Peshkopia neighborhoods. He promised a solution to urban waste problems and promised to invest in agriculture, farming, infrastructure, and sanitation. "We will start with the sanitation system," he said. "We will also invest in an irrigation system. Your area is an agricultural area, and we will fund agriculture and farming," promised the majority's candidate. During his meetings, the candidate was accompanied by the coordinator of the Socialist Party for the Dibra region. The majority's candidate is a doctor who has served you any time during the day and night. Meanwhile, the opposition brings a former official, an MP who has nothing to do with Dibra, said the SP's coordinator for Dibra. Elections for Dibra's mayor will be held on September 11th. The opposition's candidate for Dibra's mayor also continued with his electoral meetings. Today, he met with Lura residents, to whom he promised to develop infrastructure and investments for drinking water. He added that he will also have tourism development as part of his priority if he is elected mayor. "The road needs to be reconstructed in order to attract investors. I guarantee you that I will start the reconstruction of this road within this year. I have contacted the German Agency for Development, who has a program for developing family tourism, and we will bring it here," said the opposition's candidate. The candidate was accompanied by several Democratic Party MPs. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.